The relationship between my dad and I, while I was trans-identified and wanted to transition, was obviously strained, was destroyed to a certain extent. Decimated might be the right word. They said, oh, he's unaffirming, so that means he doesn't really love you.
The hate of your child is a heavy burden to bear. Sometimes you have to.
So you wrote the book on toxic empathy. So my question is, what is the worst thing that toxic empathy has done to our society, and how do we as young people fix it?
Yes, my argument is not that empathy is always bad, but that it's powerful. And it can lead you in a good direction or a bad direction. If you feel so deeply how someone feels, you might end up doing three things: affirming sin, validating lies, or supporting destructive policies. We see this when it comes to abortion. We see this when it comes to gender. We see this when it comes to sexuality. We see this when it comes to immigration. And we see this when it comes to crime. We feel so badly for the purported victim that is elevated by the media that we forget about the person on the other side of the moral equation. We might feel so badly for the person who swears that he is born in the wrong body that we forget about the women and girls who are now forced to share a locker room or a bathroom with a male. Or we forget about the consequences of butchering children's bodies and stealing from them their fertility, all because we have so much empathy for these children who supposedly believe that they're born in the wrong body. So I would say, it's hard for me to say what is the worst, because it's how women and Christian women justify abortion. It's how they justify transgenderism. It's how they justify redefining marriage and soft on crime policies and open borders, this toxic empathy. So it has wrought, in the name of good intention, so much destruction and chaos. Christians are not primarily called to empathy, we're called to love. And 1 Corinthians 13:6 says, love never rejoices in sin. It never rejoices in wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. So this truth and love dichotomy is what Christians are called to, and it makes us a lot more thoughtful about our politics.
Well, father and son nearly torn apart by the transgender lobby. Their story in the new documentary from IW features called Identity Crisis. Watch this.
The relationship between my dad and I, while I was trans-identified and wanted to transition, was obviously strained, was destroyed to a certain extent. Decimated might be the right word. They said, oh, he's unaffirming, so that means he doesn't really love you.
The hate of your child is a heavy burden to bear. Sometimes you have to.
And joining me right now are the subjects of the documentary, Gareth Price and his son, Simon. Welcome to you both. Simon, I want to go back to you. Tell us about the influence that the transgender lobby had on you when you were questioning and considering transitioning to a girl.
Absolutely. I was in a very vulnerable space. I had just gotten to a new school in 9th grade. I was 14. I had lost about 60 pounds over the summer, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was autistic, so I had some social difficulties. At this time, I had a sex ed class, and in the sex ed class, I learned about something called the gender unicorn, which was really the first time I was presented with this idea that your gender identity, gender expression, and sex could be three different things. I also joined what I thought back then to be the Gay Straight Alliance to get some support for the homophobic bullying I endured in middle school. But unfortunately, all I found was information about transgenderism and gender dysphoria and transition. And so, of course, being an impressionable young man at 14, I quickly latched on to the ideology.
Yeah, and Gareth, I mean, you had to deal with a lot during that time, and a lot of emotional blackmail when you refused to let your son medically transition, including from your son's own pediatrician. Tell us about that experience.
It was pretty bad. Simon was going through a lot of struggles at that time, and I had brought him to the pediatrician because I wanted some help with him. He was suffering anxiety and, depression, and the pediatrician asked to be alone with him, of course, as they do once they're 13. And then he came back and he told me, your son has told me that he's actually a girl inside and that you don't affirm this. And I said, well, of course I don't affirm it. It's absurd. And the pediatrician said to me, in front of my son, would you rather have a dead son or a live daughter. It's the most egregious malpractice I've ever experienced.
And it's so heartbreaking to hear. Simon, what was the turning point for you? I mean, your dad saw this all along, but what really hit home for you to make this turnaround?
I think the real turning point for me was in my second year of college. I transferred to Berklee College of Music, where I joined a sexual assault survivor support group. This is the first time in my life when I really processed what had happened to me when I was 14. I was sexually assaulted by an older boy on a school trip. And unfortunately, sexual assault around men and boys isn't taken nearly as seriously as sexual assault perpetrated against girls is, especially in the wake of the Me Too movement. So I processed that, and I realized that I was running from what I really was, which is a young man.
Yeah, we have about 20 seconds left, but Gareth, I want to quickly go back to you. What advice would you have for other parents who are maybe experiencing this right now with their children and don't know where to go or what to do?
I'd say to other parents, believe in yourself, believe in your ability to perceive reality, and don't let people tell you that just because you're not agreeing with your child right now that you don't love them. You might see farther into the future. You have to love them not just now and not just for what they want right now, but for the people that they will become in the future. And hold steady to the truth.
Amen. Well, Gareth and Simon, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. We appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you.